Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Creativity 101. I'm Jonathan Laird, giving you an exciting mix of education and entertainment one song at a time. Today's episode, we're going to give you a few tricks on how to deal with the low end, in particular the relationship between the bass and the kick drum. And we've already done a little bit of low end processing, and I can go ahead and explain a little bit of that here. As you can see, we've put channel EQs on all of these tracks. These are snares, toms, room mics, cymbals, basically anything that doesn't need to occupy the same kind of space as the kick drum, because the kick and the bass are really going to be where it's at in that frequency range, around anywhere from 32, I'd say, to around 80 hertz. So the hardest relationship to get right in the mix is between the bass and the kick drum. If you can manage the low end, your mix can sound really, really good. If you don't manage it so well, it can be really muddy and unappealing. But you want the bass and the kick to preserve their integrity, to preserve their character. So we're going to pay a little attention to the bass today. And as you can see, I have a summing stack here. This is our aux, and it's comprised of a bass DI and a Sans amp track. Now, I'm going to bypass the EQs on both of these plugins so you can hear what they sound like individually. So first, we're going to go to our DI. Okay, it's relatively bright, it's got a lot of attack in it. Now, let's go to our Sans amp. Now that's where a lot of the grit, the distortion, some of the fuzz is coming from. So we're going to take advantage of both of these and emphasize their characters in completely different ways. For our DI track, we've got an EQ, channel EQ, stock plugin, standard issue, and we've dialed out all the frequencies beneath 328 hertz. At our moderate slope, 18 dB per octave. That's going to basically take all the low end out of the DI, but really enhance the notes and the attack, because that's what I want out of this particular track. So take a listen to this. Not a whole lot of sub, it's all note. So that's what that one is doing. Here we're kind of doing an inversion of that idea. We've taken a low pass filter and filtered out everything above 328 hertz at a 24 dB per octave slope. Taken out everything below right around 32 hertz because, as we said in our previous video, there's nothing worth having in your mix below that frequency range. So here's what this one is doing. So the idea is to put them both together to where they blend in a very nice way. You want a healthy mix of sub and attack. So we've dialed down the DI to around -1.8 on our fader. You put them together and they sound like this. Kind of nice. You have a nice little balance of attack and sub, which is exactly what we want. But that's not all. We've also added a compressor here on our aux chain, and We're using the stock Platinum Digital. I'm utilizing this for its sidechain function because I want to attenuate the peaks and duck them out of the way when the kick drum is happening. That's why we set our sidechain to the kick out. Every time the kick plays, you'll see this needle bump around 3 dB. And that's ducking the bass just enough to make room for the kick, but it's going to snap back in place. So even though it seems like it would duck the bass a little bit too far out of the mix, that's actually not what's going to happen. You're going to hear both instruments with clarity. So we'll put this in bypass and then we'll activate it. Check it out. And there you have it. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Hope it was helpful for all of you. If it was, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel or subscribe to my website, www.jonathanlaird.net. Every week, we're updating the page with more mix hacks, tips, and tricks to get your mixes sounding the best they can. No muss, no fuss. Thanks again.